Hey, welcome. It's Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon. I want to thank you for joining us for this Sunday night live. We're getting ready to start here in just a couple of minutes here. We'll start about 8:30, but I wanted to welcome you. If you've never been to a live, here's what you can expect. Just go ahead and chat in your comment section, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. Just ask your question, leave your comment there, and then as we go through the time, I just kind of scroll down all the comments and I try to answer them. Now, if it's something that I need to ask you a question, I may ask you a question and just put it in the chat again, and I'll come back and I'll get that information so I can give you a more personalized response, something that's going to really add value for you. This is just something I do. One, it's great fun. I really enjoy it. It's helpful for the community, just sharing my knowledge. Now, one thing that you need to know, I don't know everything about boats. I know a lot about boats. I've been a boater since I was 5. I've sold boats. It's something that is a big part of my life. With that said, I don't know everything. Matter of fact, sailboats, have zero experience with sailboats. Bass boats, very little experience there. Bow riders, deck boats, center consoles, jet boats, twin engines, stern drives, outboards, inboards, all of that I have experience with. And if I have an answer, I'll give you my best answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll try to give you a resource that will be valuable for you. If I have an opinion, I'll try to give you that opinion, but let you know this is what I think, not what I absolutely know. So I look forward to it. Here's a little video intro that a subscriber made for me. Thanks, Bo. And we'll see you on the live when it kicks off here in just a moment. Welcome, everybody, to the Sunday Live. We've got a special Sunday Live for you. You can see I've got about 250 entries into our drawing. We are going to be doing the drawing for those that entered to win the boat cleaning. I see that my daughter missed cutting this one in half, so we'll tear that one up. But we'll be doing that here in just a moment. So welcome everybody to the live. Let's see who we all got on today. We've got Jerry, welcome. Ray, Ray got beat out. Brock, welcome. And Kevin, good to have you on, Kevin. I don't recognize that name, so welcome. Sorry about all the rustling. I'm trying to get these all good and mixed up in here. This is the biggest drawing that I've done. I think the last one I did, we had 80 people only. So now we've got 250 almost. So we'll get back to this. And welcome, everybody. Welcome, Todd. Good to have you. Going good. The crew is good. We put up the Christmas tree, girls put up the outside decorations. They are 8 and or almost 9 and 11. And so they decided they would tackle the decorations this year. And my wife agreed. And so they did all the outside decoration and getting the lights up and everything. And that turned out pretty good. So that was today. And life is good. Life is very good. Corey, welcome. Good to have you. Tom, good to have you. Yeah, I can read chat type. I've gotten pretty good about figuring what the little mistakes are. So, all right. So let me show you what. Let me see if I can do this here. For those of you that are here for the drawing, let me show you what I've got. And I'm going to do a quick little commercial before we get to the drawing. But first, I'm going to try to show the page so that everybody that's here for that can see. Oh, I'm not sure how they labeled it in here, but we'll. Early bird. Let's see if that's it. There we go. So for those of you that are here because you got this ad, you unblocked, you entered to win the Boat Juice bundle pack, the ultimate cleaner. Here's what I've got. These are all of the names that entered in. So what I did is I just printed this whole list out of everybody that that subscribed. You can see they were in the raffle, and we've got 264 people that were in there. And so I just printed them off and put them in a little strip like this. My daughters cut them up. And so I've got name and email address. We'll be picking one of those out here in just a moment. And before we do that, I'm going to do quick little promo for the folks that come back and watch this. You don't have to be on to win. That I don't know that that's that would make any sense. But if you're looking to buy a boat, grab the Boat Buyers Toolkit. It's totally free. If you own a boat and you're newer to boating, there's some things that you may not know that we talk about in the Boater Bootcamp: how to care for your boat, how to handle emergency situations, basic rules of the road on the water. And we cover all that in a 3-part video series. Those are all free. You can go to boatbuyertoolkit.com and boaterbootcamp.com to get those respectively. If you struggle with handling your boat, operating your boat, driving around the dock and maneuvering around the dock, getting it tied up, the Best Boat Captain series is perfect for you. We've got the single outboard, the single stern drive, the pontoon, the jet boat, wake boat, and twin engine are coming soon. We also have, if you're a trailer boater, Trailer Like a Pro. If you run at the coast, we've got Confident Coastal Boater. And then we've got Tow Water Sports with Confidence. And this spring, we'll be shooting Learn to Ski and Wakeboard the Easy Way. And by spring, I mean when it's warm enough to put my girls in the water and have them coached in the water by a girl that's on the ski team and is a captain as well. We've got a ton of 5-star reviews. If anybody else would like to leave a 5-star review for the products, for the channel, for what we do here, that's always appreciated. And I think one of the reasons we're at all 5 stars is because we have our Happy Boater money back guarantee. If for any reason you're not happy, you get 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked. And then we got the First Time Boat Buyer Academy as well. All right, so that's done. And let's get to the drawing. Let's see here. That's a lovely backdrop I got, but let's go with that one. All right. So if anybody's got questions as we're getting ready to do the drawing, go ahead and just drop them in the chat. We're still going to do the live Q&A today, like we always do. Just put your question in. We'll come back. I'll answer. Anybody in the group that has experience or has something to add, go ahead and put that in there. And so let's get to it. Here we go. This is for I think it was like $240 for the pack of Boat Juice. I'm just going to have it sent directly to you. So if you are the winner, what I need you to do is respond to the email that I will send you, because I've got your email address. Respond to that email, or send me an email to captain@boatersecretweapon.com. Just proactively send me an email, and I will get your address and get this shipped right to your front door. So here we go. And the winner is, welcome, Brian. Good to have you. Put it above my head, make this all legit. And the winner is, who do we got? James Altland. James Altland. JP Altland is the email. So I'm going to hide the email. But if you are James Altland, and I'm not sure if that reads right on your screen or backwards, but you are the winner, and you just won a pack of Boat Juice. Everybody else, thank you for entering the drawing. I appreciate it. You will, let's see, bought the Best Boat Captain series a few months ago. Glad I did. I learned a lot from your videos. YouTube channel, thanks for all you do. Shared knowledge, greatly appreciate it. You're very welcome, Kevin. I always love to get those comments from folks. It is, yes, it's a business, and yes, I need to be profitable and all that. But I really am happy that I get to have a positive impact on people and make their boating life even more fun, safer. Make sure that they're really enjoying it and getting the most out of it. And I love to get those comments from people that that get value. So yeah, congratulations, James. We will get that to you as soon as you respond. I'll send you an email after this. But again, if you're on, say howdy, and if not, then just respond to my email and I'll get your address and we'll get that shipped out to you. So what do we got going on? It is December. Man, it's December already. We've got I'm getting close. I was hoping to have my book done by the end of November. I ended up having to rework some things. I wasn't happy with the order and how things kind of turned out in the structure of it. So all the content is done, but the structure of it, I'm having my editor rearrange it, and we're redoing some chapters so that we cover things. Because here's what I found was difficult. You've got propulsion and you've got boat type. And so there's, when you talk about inboards, you could be talking about wake boats, or you could be talking about cruisers. When you're talking about outboards, you could be talking about everything almost. When you're talking about pontoons, you're usually talking about outboards, but that's different than talking about a bow rider with an outboard or a center console with an outboard. So we are reworking everything, and hopefully we'll have that done soon and get that out to everybody. I would love to send it to a couple of people for a pre-read and just get your comments on it. Maybe use one of your comments in the book as a little testimonial. So I'm now going by my alias, James Altland. Yes, that is good. Now I've got the email, so you've got to verify via email, Todd. I don't know if you can pull it off. I'll send it to you. But that's good. I like that. All right, so we got El Rivera. Been trying to familiarize myself with boats and things to know. Recently came across a Campion Super Sport. What are your thoughts on the brand? Okay, so these are Canadian built boats, and they are, I'll say, mid tier. With that said, Campion Super Sport. I'm not sure what the Super Sport is specifically, if it's a bow rider or not. Not Champion, Campion. A in there. Campion Alante Super Sport. 22. All right, so El Rivera, it's a mid-tier boat. There's no doubt about that even in those ranges, and I'm gonna pull this up and go big on that. Let's see if that's not as good as an image as I would have hoped. Let's go to Yacht World and see if we can actually find a listing of one. Yacht World, don't false advertise. All right, so this is a sea trial that Gulfstream Boats did a while back on the Campion, and let's see if they're going to give us a profile or not. Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's just him talking about it. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so a straight bow rider. Here's what's most important, El Rivera, is it's a mid-tier boat, which is fine. What's more important is how well was this particular O2 Campion Super Sport taken care of by the previous owners? Where was it run? Was it run in freshwater or saltwater? Do they have service records? Was it maintained properly? Was it maintained well? How did they run it? Did they just idle around? Did they run it wide open throttle? Did they wipe it down? Does it have mold and mildew that started? Is the transom solid? So all of these things are going to make a difference. And somewhere my big screwdriver is missing. I have to talk to my daughters about that. But what you want to do, take your screwdriver and tap around on the hull, all over where there's a through hull fitting, all over on the transom, even under the boat. If there's any scratches or mars under the boat, you want to double check and make sure that the fiberglass structure of the boat is solid. Then the next most important thing is structure of the boat solid. Everything's good. You can shake that stern drive a little bit, make sure that there's no wiggle in it. But the mechanical, then that's the most important thing after the structure. Okay, the structure's good. Now, is it going to continue to run without hassle for me? That means you need to inspect the boat physically, look for all the little things. It's a 16-year-old, no, 20-year-old boat, 21-year-old boat. Something's broken with it. Something's not right. Find all of those things that are not right and then make your decision of, does that matter to me? Can I easily fix it? Or is that such a big red flag that I need to walk away from this boat and continue looking? So the way you do that is you get the Boat Buyer's Toolkit. If you haven't, you can get this for free. I just talked about it, the Boat Buyer's Toolkit. You can go to Boater Secret Weapon, and there's a link there. You can go to Boat Buyer's Toolkit, I think, and get it. And it's going to have checklists. It's going to have questions to ask the seller. It's going to have how to demo the boat, which is the next most important thing to do, is put that baby on the water and run it. Put that baby on the water and make sure that it runs good. If you're not mechanically inclined, maybe hire a technician to pull compression, which is something that should be done in the inspection phase. Check the fluids, check the gear lube, make sure there's no water intrusion, and then run that boat hard for 20 minutes following the demo checklist, which is right in that toolkit, totally free. And make sure that it's sound mechanically and that you're buying the particular Campion is a solid boat. I said this anytime somebody asks me about a used boat that's over 7 years old, this is sort of the story that I tell them. I would rather buy a O2 Campion that's in outstanding shape than a O2 Cobalt, which I believe is one of the best boats made in that style, that hasn't been maintained properly. So I would go with the value brand or the mid-tier brand over the premium brand any day of the week if the mid-tier boat has been better taken care of. And you can find those things by following the toolkit, asking questions, looking in the engine compartment, looking for oil leaks and looking for rust and looking for corrosion, and that type of thing. So hopefully that's helpful for you. And you can use that. Grab that toolkit if you have not already. All right, let's see. Rich, I'm looking to upgrade to lithium ion phosphate batteries. Not sure what brand. Anyone? Rich, I do not know anything about the lithium ion. Let's see if okay, Brock, good. Thank you. Don't go with the cheap ones. Had a buddy just about burned down new Ranger with a set of $400 Amazon lithiums. Went with Monster Marine Group 31s in his nitro, right? Had them 2 years, not a single problem yet. Yeah, I don't know anything about the battery world in that respect. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. I've at IBEX last year, I did talk to several battery manufacturers, and it seems to me there's a big variance between good quality and the cheap stuff, like catching on fire variants, like safety variants. And so I can't speak to any brand specifically. I would say with Brock, with the 2-year history of that of the Monster Marine Group 31s, that would be a good place to follow. But there's, from what I'm gathering, there are different ways to put them together, and there are brands out there that are touting themselves as lithium ions, but they're doing some things a little bit different, and it's a very technical battery compared to, the cell batteries like an Interstate. So if anybody else has anything to add to that, I would appreciate your input. Okay, yeah, Brian has RVs as well as his pontoon. If you cruise for a few hours back, their point, yeah, I think that's probably his RV experience where in the RV where you're using power consistently over time, having the longer lasting lithiums, running a trolling motor like Brock does on his boat, and maybe even on the Sportsman. I don't know if you run the lithiums on those as well, but making sure that you're getting them for the proper use. What they're great at is the longevity of their charge, versus just the cranking amps of a regular, interstate type battery. So thanks for adding that. Have any experience with power bimini tops? I have the Sure Shade Bimini, considering adding the option for a solid support to replace the tension straps. Any experience with them? I mentioned this on one of the video review. Oh, it's Barletta. Barletta, one of I like Cobalt. I think is one of the best in the bow rider space. I think Barletta is one of the best in the pontoon space, and they went to all power bimini tops. It's a standard on all of their boats, power bimini, or at least several of their models. Maybe their new value model they don't use it, but my concern is everything with an electric battery that doesn't have the support is, in my experience on the water, it's gonna fail at some point. I was What boat was I looking at the other day? I was at a dealer here in Charlotte, on a wake boat, and their seat, the helm seat, the captain's chair was an electric. It would raise, it would lower, it would slide, it would do all these things. I'm like, that's great. Now, you turn the boat off and you turn the power off and it sent back to its regular resting on the pedestal position. But when you turned it up, you could set it to move up to the height that would be standard, like you could in your car. Like that's great until that sucker gets so wet and that battery goes bad. Now, don't know that it will happen, but that's just always the worry. As far as the supports, um, yeah, you're putting a lot of tension on that motor and the gears in there to just have it expanded out and not have anything supporting it up. But I don't know of anybody that's done that modification. I don't even know that I've come across anybody that's done something similar. I know if you go to pretty much any um, dealer now, you might even be able to go to a tracker dealer and find the support that they would put on a manual one, and you could just measure it up, set it, make sure you get your angles right, and you could put that on there. They've got the little clip so you can swing it back and clips on. That would probably be the route that I would look. That way, everything fits up. It's the tracker um, size tubing. All the tracker fittings should fit on that. I don't think they changed the tubing of the actual bimini itself. I think that's all the same. It's just the power mechanism that's on the fence rail is different. So if that's the case, that would be the place I would start, and maybe even ask somebody at the dealership, or excuse me, call a couple of dealers, and maybe not Bass Pro Shop, maybe not Capella's. Go to an actual tracker dealer that's an independent dealer that just sells tracker, and they might have a little bit better support for you. Um, Not that all Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's service departments aren't good, but they often are less knowledgeable about things like that. They can do the basics, but when you start looking at adjustments like that, they don't always have that level of experience. Um, in honor of how much your series helped my wife and I, we would like to pay it forward to sponsor a membership to the best boat captain to a deserving person. That would be awesome, Jerry. I love that. That's great. Um, I am, yeah, I'll go back and forth with email on you on that. Maybe what we can do is we can do some type of a drawing, or we could even do hey, send us your situation and, do a quick video or something as to why you want this, and we could do it that way. That would be awesome. Would love to do that. And I'll tell you what, I will if anybody else wants to do something like that, I'll go ahead and match it with one from me as well. So you give one, I'll give one, you give one, I'll give one, and we can do something for Christmas or do something like that, or maybe even as boat show season starts around. Bo, welcome. Good to have you. Um, all right, we talked about batteries. Yeah, that well, I gotta tell you, and I've mentioned this, it's been a while, the the camaraderie and the cool people that I've met doing this, and especially doing the lives. I mean, the 21 people that are on here right now in December that are here, talking boats on a Sunday when there's a football game going on, and there's, holiday stuff going on, and you got your lives and you come here, you talk boats, you help answer questions, and you give support for people in the community when they have personal stuff going on. Sharing your knowledge. Brock has been awesome about that. Bo has been great about that. Everybody has been super. It's the type of community I'm glad to be a part of, and it really just the facilitator of it. Not, it's been pretty awesome. So appreciate that. While we were talking batteries, both my batteries are still connected. My boat was hauled, planning to grab them, put them on the trickle charger over the winter. Um, just wherever you store them. Let's see, if you can put them inside, that's great. Just don't store them on the concrete. If you do have them outside in the garage or a shed, just make sure they're blocked up on set them on some 2x4s or something like that, so that they're not um it's something. I think it's something about the cold that does something to it. I don't even really know what. I just know I've always been told never store batteries on the cement. I remember my dad telling me that as a kid. So run the lithiums on my trolling motor. Have a smaller one that I run the graphs, live scopes. Still don't trust ever engine starting. Yeah, it's if you're just need cold cranking amps or cranking amps to get you fired up, that I think the standard what a cell battery, lead cell batteries or whatever they're called, are probably still the better option. But when you're running stuff that's consistently pulling juice, like the trolling motors, like the electronics and things like that you've got, I think they become a more viable option for you. Just bought two 36-volt monsters for the Sportsman, my Christmas present to myself. That's right. Hey, if you don't get your boat a present for Christmas, you're not a real boater. That's not right. Hey, Bo, tell me what is it about the heyday that either impressed you or didn't impress you? Because I'm not sure what your thoughts were before that. But I've never run a heyday. I did an interview with Molly and Chad. They've got a podcast called The Boat Life with Molly and Chad, or Lake Life with Molly and Chad, and they run on Lake Cumberland and some on the Ohio River, and they have a Tritune Godfrey maybe, but they also bought a Heyday as a surf boat, and I had him on the podcast, and he said, "Listen, I know it's not an Nautique, I know it's not a Supra or a Mastercraft." He said, "But it fit our budget, and it surfs and it does exactly what we needed to do. And it allows us to be a two boat family that have two distinct boats for their lake place of a pontoon to hang out on and the Heyday to surf all day long." They've got some adult kids or high teenage kids. I think they're more adult kids now. But so I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on that. Sure Say sells the kit. Yeah, definitely send that over to me, Brian. I'll take a look for you. And the biggest thing I would say is making sure that whatever the the tube size and shape all matches up, because different manufacturers use various tube sizes for those. Um, yeah, yeah, Herb, that's exactly what I was talking about. Is it's getting better and better for sure. Matter of fact, when I was at the dealership the other day. I was talking to a buddy of mine that I've worked with for or not worked with, but they've been a dealerships he's been at was clients of mine, and I've known him for 10 years now, probably. He sold in the same market I did. And I was asking about the screens. I said, how well are these screens holding up over time? The touch screens, especially in the wake boats. And he's like, they're doing really good. He said we've got now a master um, breaker switch on theirs that if something happens, it's going to blow that breaker before it blows the screen technology. But he said also, he said these are really just like glorified iPads. He said all they do is offer the interface to run certain things. He said, but it doesn't keep, even if the screens died, it doesn't keep you from doing anything that you would do on that particular brand of boat. It happened to be Supra. It doesn't keep you from doing anything. It just, it makes it a little, you have to do the manual adjustment of it. But you can still start the boat. You can still run the boat. You can still fill the ballast tanks. You can still set the surf gates up or whatever. I don't know what their technology is, but you can still set the surf system up and let it run. But you just won't be able to do it from the touchscreen. You'll have to do it via another method, and they all have that other method. But that was my concern when the screens started coming out is every component manufacturer in the boating industry, 80% of them have gone out of business in a slowdown over time. And so what happens is, unless there's somebody that picks that up as an aftermarket product or buys that technology, that manufacturer goes out of business, and now you can't get that something unless there's a replacement aftermarket comparable piece. Now that's dead. It's a dead technology, and you got it on your boat, and you're out of luck. And so I'm with you on that 100%, Herb. All mine are plugged into NOCO onboard charges 24/7 when it's not in use. So that smart charger, I guess. Ravens already played this afternoon, eked it out. I tell you what, I haven't watched much NFL football. Matter of fact, I got to check my fantasy team and see how I did. I'm number 2 right now, and I think if I win, I could be tied for first in a 3-way tie, which would mean I'd be in the money for regular season, which would be nice. If you're cold, they're cold. Bring your batteries inside. Yeah, that is a good tip. If you're cold, they're cold. Let's see here. Sustainability, welcome. Good to have you. Still watching my games, but listening to your podcast. Good vibes. That's awesome. Gotta have, and I know Brock likes to do on his big screen. He does a split screen where he's got the football game and then I get the little picture in picture. I think is how he had it set up last time I talked to him. Batteries are concrete, same as with car batteries. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm sure there's some real reason why to do that, but Eric McCroy, Eric, welcome. I saw your name in the drawing there. I think I saw a McCroy in the drawing. Decided my first boat, the Maxim. Oh, where did we go? Maxim 330. Then the wife asked, you sent me an email, Eric, about that. When are you going to cruise around Canada? But ain't sleeping on a boat. Would trailer to Lake of the Ozarks. Any suggestions? There, Eric, there's a lot of things to consider. I'm gonna ask you some questions and then I'm gonna come back to you. Okay. So tell me a little bit about what your perfect day on the water looks like. Okay. Tell me what kind of tow vehicle you have, or are you willing to upgrade to invest to the tow vehicle that you need? Um, Let me know what your storage situation looks like. So are you keeping it in a marina when you're up in Canada, and then you're going to throw it on the trailer and tow it around to different lakes? What are you going to do? So there's the perfect day on the water, but then there's also, what are you going to do 80% of the time? What are you really going to enjoy doing most of the time? The number of people, kids, adults, what does that all look like? And I'll give you some more suggestions. Okay. Because yeah, towing that 33 Maxim up in, I don't know where in Canada you are, but to get to the Ozarks, it's at least a 12-hour drive, I would imagine. and it's I've been going to the Ozarks since I was 5 years old, so I know the lake real well. It's there's some boats that you can run on that, depending on where you're on the water. But answer those questions, Eric. Just kind of bullet them or put them in a bunch of different chats, whatever, and I will come back to you and we'll go through a little bit more. Okay. Um, Zap some super fast. I asked my wife for this as a Christmas present. That's good. Um, I tell you what do you want for Christmas when you have a boat's easy? There's all sorts of things that are on the list. I originally thought Heyday was the dumbest entry in the wake boat. Ugly has the weirdest seating layout ever. Now they sent us the WT2. Truth be told, not a bad vessel. It handles a lot nicer than some Malibus I've run. Interesting, because it's lighter than most other wake boats. It puts so much smooth. It pulls so much nicer. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, the looks of the Heyday. The Heyday I want to say it's stubby. There's something about the back end that makes me think like stubby. Let me pull one up real quick. But again, when I talked to Chad of Molly and Chad's Lake Life, or Lake Life with Molly and Chad, Heyday boats, he was like, "Listen, I know there's better, nicer boats out there, but for 50% of what we could have got a Malibu or a Supra or a Nautique or a Mastercraft, we got exactly what we wanted, and we knew that going in." Yeah, it's the front end. That's what gives that stubby look to me. But he's like, it does everything that we need it to do. It is our surf boat that's out running 8 hours a day while we're surfing and wakeboarding. Um, and then we're stationed. We've got the pontoon anchored out, and that's our home base. Go out, surf, come back to the pontoon, pick up another load, go out, surf, come back to the pontoon, anchor out, have some sandwiches, have some cocktails, and have a great time on the water. And if that's what you want, that's why I always say there's no bad boat. There's just a bad boat for you. So there's a lot of bad boats for each individual person, but every boat that's made, I mean, Heyday's there's a market for every boat for them to do what they want to do. And 75,000 for what is that? 22 feet? Yeah. Oh no, that's the what is that? WT2. I'm going to say that's probably a 20 footer, because the 22 is 89 compared to the G23 by Nautique. That's a $189,000 boat, compared to this. Excuse me. I don't know. I got to stop drinking the Sprite. I guess something's going on. Um, and I think it's important to know, and it's important when you're getting advice from people that don't have that mentality. They have a mentality that it's dumb. If you don't have a center console, you're dumb. Pontoons are stupid. Wake boats are the devil. Yeah, for some situations it's the total wrong boat, but for other people it's the absolute right boat. And ballast system was smooth, simple, felt like a ballast luxury. Why Mastercraft make them this easy? Yeah, they did have the opportunity to start from the ground up, because Brunswick decided we're going to do an entry level wake boat, and we're going to get into this market. So they started from the ground up when wake surfing was the thing. When Mastercraft started, this was really prevalent 10 years ago when it was wakeboarding, 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 and then before that it was skiing. So all of the, Mastercraft just specifically made a great ski boat. Well, the hull of a ski boat is designed to give out a flat wake, as tiny of a wake as possible. Then wakeboarding started, like, we'll just start throwing weight in to make that wake bigger. And then as surfing became popular, they said, okay, we have to redesign our hulls to put out the biggest waves possible. Now the wakes standard are big. You put the ballast in, they're even bigger. And that's why they're being legislated in several states as well, because people aren't using them with courtesy in mind. NOCO chargers are really nice. Many of my forum members use them. I cheap out with the battery tender metal units. The only battery tender 50-minute golf carts has never let me down. Used to have the Pro Mariner on boards, but my 3 bank died last year, so I upgraded the others while I was buying them. Um, yeah, I need to do some research on that and maybe put together a video on some battery stuff, but I've got to really dive in more before I'd feel comfortable about offering any advice on that. Originally, I mostly didn't like because they market as the next big thing in the wakeboat world. Same technology from 10 years ago. This is the WT1, by the way. Interesting. Um, 9:06 p.m. Fast. Yeah, I was like, oh man, this is going to be another short one like we were last week, and we didn't have anything to talk about. Um, Hey, listen, I enjoy these as much as everybody. It is, I tell my wife, and Ray's really enjoying it. Ray's got his vodka Sprite. I just got the regular Sprite. Missed the hour and a half lives is highlight of my Sunday nights as I start to ease into my Monday work week. Hey, as long as we've got content, as long as there's, I'm not just rambling to ramble, and we've got good questions come in and good conversation, I am more than happy to talk boats. So, all right, it seems like El Rivera maybe hasn't put in his chats, or maybe I'm missing him. Let me see if I'm missing him. And I need to start adding vodka to my Sprite, Ray. I think you're onto something there. If they had a cuddy cabin wake boat, it would probably sell my Bayliner. That that will be. Listen, if I see or hear of any talk, any chatter in the industry about a cuddy cabin wake boat, I will let you know. You'll be my first call. Uh, the Dogfish IPA. Uh, Good. Maybe I'm the only one not having a cocktail tonight. I need to get on that. So, all right. What else do we got coming out today? Let's see here. All right. Let me look at I've been oh oh, it was Eric. It was Eric that was asking. Okay. Um not Canada. He's in St. Louis. Well, that's an easier tow than 3 hours. All right, 4 adults, no grandkids yet, riding around, looking at mansions, out to dinner, fancy restaurants, F-150, 11,000 pounds. Don't know about storage. Okay. So when you start looking at that, one of the things that I would say is one of your first choices, Eric, is pontoon or bow rider deck boat. So that's going to be one of the first things. The pontoon gives you a lot of space. For 4 adults, it's going to be more than enough. It's going to be comfortable for cruising, super comfortable, super spacious. But it's a pontoon. I have mentioned this before, but my father-in-law has a place on Lake Loudon in Tennessee, and because I know them well enough and knew kind of what my mother-in-law would be interested in, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they're both single, and my family, I was like, you should consider a pontoon. I think it would be a great option for you. And my father-in-law was like, not happening, no pontoon. And I never brought it up again because there's a pride of ownership. I need to be excited about I'm not have to buy a boat. I want to buy a boat. And if a pontoon doesn't do it for you, then that gets crossed off the list. But that certainly could be an option for you, Eric. The other is the bow rider deck boat. Now, you're 3 hours away from Lake of the Ozarks. You've got a big enough towing capacity. I don't know what lakes you would run around St. Louis. If you'd run on the river there or not. I don't know what that looks like for you personally, but if you're gonna go to the Ozarks somewhat consistently, you didn't mention anything about like kids skiing and wakeboarding, or skiing specifically, but so the whole shot, the ability to tow a skier, to pull a 225-pound guy on a slalom ski, that's out the window. That doesn't seem like anything that's super important. So maybe a 24 to a 26 foot in the bow rider deck boat category. That's going to give you the space to go cruise, and look at the mansions. And you go down by the 3 mile marker by Toad Cove, go to Redheads down there, and you will be able to handle yourself in a 24, 26 foot. If you stay to the edges, if you use your trim, you learn how to drive your boat properly, which we talk about in the Best Boat Captain. I think you invested in that. I think I've seen your name there as well. But the bigger the better at the Ozarks. But if that's only a 20% of your boating life, you can make do with the 24, 26 foot. At my the lake place that I run at the Lake of the Ozarks, it's further away from Osage. We're right near the Nangua Bridge, near where the Cave is, the new restaurant, the Cave, right under the Nangua Bridge. We're across the channel, and I run a 22-foot Tri-Tune, and I've taken it all the way down to Redheads, which is 19-mile marker maybe or so. I probably wouldn't take it on a Saturday afternoon. I wouldn't take it all the way down, not because I couldn't, but it just wouldn't be super comfortable. But a 24, 26-foot boat will get you there, and still be within your towing capacity. And then your storage looks like, hey, where can I put this thing? And when it snows, how am I going to handle that? Can I keep it out of the elements? Can I keep it indoors? Can I park it under a roof? Or do I just tent it up really well so that snow slides off and it doesn't ruin my cover? And I do it for a long period of time. So those are a few thoughts that I've got for you. Live on the Mississippi, in Alton, Illinois. Okay, let me see. And then, so those are a couple of thoughts. Those are a couple of thoughts on what might be right for you. Now, when it comes to brand, it depends on your budget. So I'm an F-150 guy, but hey, I'm going to run it till it dies. I've got an 07 F-150. And until that thing, the AC kits out or something happens and it's not going to do what I need it to do. So I would be looking on the pre-owned side, to get what I wanted. And I would go a little bit older to get the package that I wanted, to get the horsepower, all of that. If you're hey, I bought my 2014 F-150 brand new, and I would rather go new with the warranty, and I know what I've got. So 8 years later, I know how this baby's been taken care of, and I want to go new and invest that money up front. Then it's a matter of, are you a premium buyer? Are you a mid-tier buyer? Are you a value buyer? And start thinking about those kind of things in the brand. And just like I talked about, it was El Rivera that I talked about this, is if you start going over 5 to 7 years old, Eric, on your purchase, well, then brand becomes a lot less important. There's still a Cobalt is going to ride nicer and have a more solid ride than a Tahoe from Bass Pro Shop. All that's going to hold still, but how that boat was treated is almost more important than the brand. How that boat was taken care of, the maintenance, is the most important thing. Once you get to about 5, 7 years old, you're inland, so you shouldn't have to worry about salt, but stay away from salt boats. If you see signs of salt, rust, and corrosion that's excessive, walk from that. It's going to be a nightmare. So hopefully those are some things that get you thinking. And then in the Boat Buyers Academy, and even in the toolkit, I've got in step 2, boat types you like, and kind of going through and thinking about that might be a helpful tool for you if you don't already have it, to make sure that you start going down the path and looking at the right style of boat, and really thinking about that 80%. What is the normal day look like, and what's my perfect day look like, and can we fit that all into the same boat? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. When I want to sleep on it once a year. Well, you don't want to get a cruiser just for that once a year, or that running up the Mississippi to Canada. that, is a dream trip that might not actually happen in reality. I see a lot of people make decisions on that. Oh, this is what we really want to do. Um, but that's not what they're going to do 80% of the time. So you've got to don't get taken off track with that mindset. I'm so addicted. I spent 4 hours cleaning my boat. Nobody showed up. We took his new crabbing boat for a chili cruise. Can't get enough. That's interesting. A crabbing boat is like a serious commercial crabbing boat. That would be kind of cool. Buffalo Trace here drinking the good stuff. That's all right. I would sell my kidneys for a guy that sells in the U.S. Um, that you know what? Hey, Bo, if you look, Campion, I think still does. Since we talked about them, Campion boats. I want to say that they still do a cuddy. And there's a handful of Campion dealers in the U.S. There's not many, but well, none of those are looking like that one looks like it's the closest. Maybe they stopped building it. Nope. Chase. No, that's got an open bow. No, you're out of luck. Sorry. I thought I had one for you. On a serious note, Captain Matt, do you have advice for folks who need to make a warranty claim through their local dealers? I have a Volvo Penta claim to make, which they said they'd cover. Yeah, get it on the books as soon as possible. So go to your Regal dealer and let them know this is what I've got going on. And now that your boat, I think you said you were hauled out, blocked up, and probably shrink wrapped. You just need to pull the batteries. Talk to your dealer, get it on record so that they can register with Regal and start that process. Now, I know when you bought the boat, you were happy with the dealer, which should mean that, and I think if I remember right, the dealer up in that area has had Regal for a while, that they've got a good relationship with Regal and Volvo, and that warranty claim will be easily approved. Be friendly and follow up, especially right now. If they're busy, they're hauling boats, they're shrink wrapping boats, they're winterizing, and they're trying to do it before the first big freeze. Maybe you've already had that up there on the Chesapeake, but so sometimes what can happen is you tell them about, hey, I've got this going on with my motor, it needs to be claimed under warranty, and then they get busy with all of their winter stuff. And sometimes dealers in the north can kind of check out for the winter. Some owners will fly south and go to their place in Florida, and just kind of let things. Your dealer probably not the case, but some of them do that. So you just want to make sure that let them know, and then, hey, when do you think I'll know something on the claim? What's the next step, and when will that be? And then just put a follow up for yourself to, a couple days after that, give them a ring and check and make sure, shoot them an email to make sure it stays on the top of the stack of things to do. And then really it's a matter of how well the dealer interacts with Volvo. And if you want a good video to watch on this, let's see if I can find it. Last year in the Boat Expo, the US Boat Expo, I interviewed Karen Warranty, who was the warranty administrator at the dealership that I worked at. She was there for 30 plus years. Freedom Boat Club is advertising a ton in my area every time I play a video. So advice from a warranty administrator. So Karen was nice enough to kind of share her experience. She worked as a service writer. She worked as a warranty administrator, which is the person that works with the manufacturers to get warranty claims done. She kind of showed behind the curtains of what it's like and why the dealer makes so much difference in how warranty claims work, and actually the specific person at the dealership, how that works. They all have their processes. And if you know how to work the process, you can get a lot more things approved and done quicker. If you don't, then it can be a little bit harder. So if you're interested, it's a 30-minute video, and she's super knowledgeable, super experienced, and she just kind of shared it all. She's retired now. She's down in Myrtle Beach and enjoying the good life with her little Chihuahua down there. But that would be a video that you might want to check out. But that would be my advice to you, is just stay on top of them. Make sure that it doesn't get missed in the shuffle. My local Riga dealer balked until I forwarded their confirmation from Volvo they would cover the claim. Okay, yeah. So that would be a situation where, and Karen talks about it, is as the boat owner, you have to balance being assertive and not being rude. And sometimes you have to do what you did, which is go around them. Okay. If you're not going to do what you're supposed to do, this should be covered under the warranty. And this needs to be done. They went silent early October. Well, just like I said, that's when winterization started really rolling in. They had to get all of that work done before it froze, because otherwise, hey, I need you to winterize my boat. Okay, we'll get it done. As soon as they get the we'll give it done, they either have to put that boat inside where it's not going to freeze if it gets too cold, or they're going to have to, at a minimum, drain the block and take the chance that they got it all out, or actually run the pink stuff through it. And fortunately, they're very good at that and they know how to do it. But they're on a time crunch from Labor Day weekend to the first freeze in their area. Some is shorter than others. And so that early October is probably, give them the benefit of the doubt, that winterization time crunch. And so everybody in services, all hands on deck on getting these done, getting the boats hauled, getting them shrink wrapped, getting them winterized. And then once we get to that point, now we can get back to the warranty stuff. So just stay on top of them. Keep that email that you have from Volvo that says, hey, yes, we'll claim this, or we'll approve this. And then, politely and assertively stay with the dealer. So that would be my best advice. And listen to that. That may be really good for you to listen to Karen, how she talks through it, what the dealership is experiencing, what it looks like on their side, and her suggestions. Call back the battery chat. Great investment to jumpstart pack. Yes. Save you after a long day on the hook. Generated, I see quite a few people. Yeah, that is a great point. That is one of the, I think I've got it on a checklist somewhere, that a battery pack is a really, really good idea. Not an absolute have to have it, Coast Guard required, but it's a smart boater investment to have that jump pack charged up and ready to go on the boat when you're out there, just in case. Regard to cosmetic issue with the throttle lever, nothing. Okay, well, that's good. And again, the dealership mentality on this, Jerry, is, hey, we know this is not an urgent matter. We know this is not going to keep him off the water come next season. It starts to go to the bottom of the pile. It's just like they said, no, that won't be a warranty. That won't get approved on warranty. It's a cosmetic issue. It's a user error. Whatever they said, that just means they don't have to deal with it. And that's where the assertive but polite, because they can make it real problematic for you if you are a jerk about it. But if you're too nice about it, you can also not get things approved that should be approved. So just stay on top of them. I'm almost certain, Jerry, that's what happened, because I know you've had a good experience with this dealer, from what I understand, that we got to get these winterizations and these shrink wraps done, and we got to get these boats hauled, and we've got to get them blocked up. And now, November, if you've already had your big freezes, December, January is when they'll start doing that thing, and try to get them before the boat show starts. because as soon as you have the boat show in your area, which I don't know when the show is. Um, well, and you guys had the Annapolis show as well, which another all hands on deck type event. Um, so that could have taken them out. I think that was October or November. I don't remember. But that could have played into it as well. When Spring Boat Show happens, April, it's at my marina. Maybe we can hook up. Yeah. Okay. So that's in April. That answers that. So just get them, but make sure it gets done before April, before they get into that boat show and another all hands on deck situation. And sometimes, sometimes that can have an issue. Yeah, my truck's got 130,000 miles on it. It's an '07. Um, my wife got a new minivan. I think it's a 2018 or a 2019, and that just rolled over 100,000 miles over Thanksgiving, on the Thanksgiving trip up to West Virginia, because we road trip in that van like crazy. We go to Tennessee, we go to the Lake of the Ozarks, we go to West Virginia, we've driven down to Florida. That's our traveling van for the family. And so she's almost caught me on miles, but has me by 11 years newer, but almost about the same number of miles. So I'm a run it till it dries, pay that baby off, no car payment kind of guy. Is my found on the road dead. um, Great advice. Always have 4 batteries on my boat. Trolling motor. Bought a cheap set of 6-gauge jumpers. Yeah, it's having and I've learned that one from experience. I'm a listen to the radio at anchor up at the sandbar, and I can't tell you how many times I've run the battery dry, just floating and listen to music, not paying any attention, and the jump pack has saved me more than once. Motorboaters switch off the other end, attach the single battery. Starting battery, you need to jump, turn the switch on, start it up. Boaters to switch with the other end attached to the starting battery. So if you need to jump, okay, got it. Spiked eggnog. There you go. My first year owning my Tri-Tune. I'm so happy. I went instead of the Yamaha jet boat. Yeah, I don't remember if we had that conversation when you were talking through that, but I remember when you took delivery of your Bennington, and it's a beautiful boat. I've got the pictures here somewhere. It's and Eric, I guess we were talking this. The pontoon mentality. Sometimes it's about the looks, but sometimes it's about, and I think this is my father-in-law. He's 60, just turned 65 over November. Is the mentality of a pontoon is a slow putt boat, and that's not what I want. Until sustainability comes flying by you at 52 miles an hour on rough chop, because he can trim that baby up and just glance over the top of everything. While my father-in-law has a beautiful boat. It's amazing. It's a Cobalt R5. But that's going to be a 26 foot almost. That's going to be run. He's going to get outrun. He can run. I think that boat, maybe 45-ish. He's got a 5.7 liter in it, 45-ish. But if that chop is heavy, you're going to have to pull it back a little bit because it's going to be a rough ride. And the reality of the pontoons, it's a reason why they've just dominated, and the fiberglass bow riders has dropped down and the pontoons have gone up in market share. It's because they do things so well. And so many people like sustainability that went with the pontoon route and they're blown away, or they buy the fiberglass and then they ride on a buddy's Tri-Tune, or they see the buddy flying by them at 50 miles an hour on rough chop, and they're like, what the heck? That shouldn't happen. But you're buying a boat for fun. And if fun means I've got a sleek looking bow rider that is going to turn heads at the dock, and that's what I like, then you got to go that direction. There's that part of it that I you can't overlook. There's the pride of ownership that you can't overlook, and the functionality. Yeah, pontoon may be a better boat functionally, but if I'm happier to look down on my dock or to look out on my trailer and see a shiny fiberglass boat that I can polish up, well, guess what? That's the way you need to go. So, you're welcome, Eric. Glad that was valuable. Would do the best to be there. Not still tinkering with the boat for the new season. Be at the Baltimore Boat Show at the Tomino Fairgrounds. I think it's January, January 20. I've been looking to figure out what boat shows I'm going to. I need to, and I'm going to try to do some marketing and maybe even a exhibit at a boat show with the new book. So we'll see how that all turns out. Jerry, let us know a few of us the dealership flipping tables. Okay. There you go, Brian. Like I said, the community supporting each other, whether it's with some intimidation tactics, some destruction, whatever it is, you got to be there for the community. That's great. I love it. Yes, hit the like button. I always appreciate that. Share it anytime that you see one of my videos. Some of the best things you can do are just watch it all the way through, hit the like button, leave a comment, or share it in your community. That makes a huge difference for the way YouTube sees it and gets it to more people. And that's always appreciated. He's back. My Regal dealer was all hands on deck at the Annapolis Boat Show early October. Thought I'd give him some time to recover. Yeah, there's, like I said, friendly yet assertive. That finding that balance, and I think now it's time to get a little bit more assertive and pick up the phone, call them, maybe even just stop in if it's not too far away from you. Could be a good course of action. And they've got the boat, especially if it's blocked up at the dealership, they've got easy access to it, and it shouldn't be that big a deal to get the part ordered and done. We usually have to start over. Oh, that's good. I love it. Had so much trouble with my right kidney in the last 3 months. May give it to you. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Seems the Boatware Secret Live Sunday night collection of boating for many of us, where we enjoy our favorite boating beverage. Hey, that I'm all about it. I tend not to drink, not for any particular reason that I don't want to drink on this, but I'm usually have just read my youngest a bedtime story, and she's supposed to start getting ready for bed at 7:30, and then by 8 she should be half asleep, and I'm done reading to her, and I just haven't got my cocktails out. So a couple of times, yeah, Barry, it happens, and it's so much easier to just be like, okay, we'll just jump it off, and oh, we got to flag somebody down. We got to throw the anchor out, make sure we're not floating. 150, 1,500 jump pack. You gotta, what I gotta see. Um, I don't know what NOCO stands for. Is that okay? Yeah, that's the brand. I was like, why do I not know what that stands for? But that's the exact one I told my buddy to get. And that saved our butts. We were out last year, gonna run it. We put the fuel treatment in before we were gonna winterize it, and we got out there. He had a loose battery cable, is what it turned out, but the battery was dead, and we ended up getting it fixed up. But we used that same junk pack. What's your take on Malibu end of year sales event? Um, let's see what it is. I don't know exactly what they're running, but um, let's see. Timing is everything. Malibu through December, best deal, $10,000 savings. Unforgettable summer memories, loaded with industry lean. Okay, so here's what I see, Brent. Here's what I see happening right now is we have demand going down. Okay. There's no question about it. Every indication says that the demand has been going down probably since the 4th of July of this year. maybe even a little sooner in some markets, some areas substantially, some a little bit, but it's going down. And I would say it's probably at this point under 2019, 2018 levels, 2018, 2019 levels. Inventory is starting to build, but there's a baseline where you want inventory, especially this time of year. So the way dealers work their inventory in North America is this: we start bringing in inventory in July for the next model year. They switch the model year in late July, early August, depending on the manufacturer, based on when the boat's built. Those start getting delivered to dealers in August, let's say. Okay. So early to mid August, they're starting to get the 2023s are coming in right now, and they've been coming in. Well, in a normal year, this year they were still delivering 2022s in August. But in normal times, the new model year starts coming in early to mid-August. From August to January, they are rebuilding their inventory levels, okay? So they want, if they're going to have 100 boats on the showroom floor, they need to start bringing those boats in 30 at a time every month from August to January. And they're going to sell some of those. Some of them are sold boats, so that come January, February, March, whenever their boat show is, they've got their biggest selection of inventory at that time. Okay. Boats take a long time to build. It's a process. Then they start selling them and the inventory starts going down. So with that said, like that cycle of inventory building and shrinking, there's a baseline of boats that they want at the dealership level. Right now, I haven't seen the latest numbers, but the last numbers I saw, which were in October, 60% of the dealers said we still don't have enough boats in inventory. We're still short. 40%, it was like 30% said we have more than we need. And there was a small percentage that said we're just right. So here's what's going on. They're using this to say, all right, we know demand's going down. We still aren't overbuilt, but what we'd rather do is we'd rather sell the boats that are on order now and use this incentive so that in 2024 we can still be building boats even if the demand continues to go down. So they're using this as a hedge to say, all right, we're going to give up a little bit on these boats. That way we can move these boats now in the off season. We can see where we're at when the big selling season comes in March, April, May, June, so that when the 2024 boats are coming out, they start building those in July and August. We know the dealers aren't saying, whoa, we got the baselines here. And 80% of the dealers are saying we have too much inventory. Okay. That's what they're trying to avoid. And they're saying we're willing to give up a little bit of profit now, because the way they do their rebates is customer gets the discount, dealer gets reimbursed on their next order of that particular model usually. So if it's I don't know the Malibu brand or the Malibu models right off the top of my head, but let's say it's a 25 Malibu, we give you, that's the $10,000 savings. You get the $10,000 as a dealer when you order your next 25 Malibu, and that's how they pay it back. So you have to, as a dealer, you almost always have to reorder that boat. And so they're locking in a 2024 order with this $10,000 rebate now. So hopefully that makes sense. It's just a way where they're saying, hey, we're not sure what's going to happen, but there could be a slowdown. We've raised our prices with the increases with inflation, but now we're going to hedge ourselves. And that $10,000 rebate is only on the highest level model, the $210,000 model, whatever that is. Everything else starts coming down. And they're also using it as a lead generation. Oh, contact your local dealer to find the truth on the water. Let me put in my name, email, and zip code. Now I know what dealer should get that lead. and now we've just generated a lead. Same thing with, I just did a drawing for boat juice. I didn't do that just because I wanted to give away boat juice. I used that as a lead generation technique to get people in my world, and now they can come watch my YouTube videos and I can make some more ad revenue. If they need help with Trailer Like a Pro or with the best boat captain, they can invest in a program. And so I didn't have to give that boat juice away, but I did as a lead generation. They don't have to give this $10,000 rebate away, but it's a lead generation and it's a hedge against the market to make sure their dealers start ordering 2024 boats. Oh, hopefully all that makes sense. And that's my what my gut tells me. That's what my understanding of the boating business. They may have a totally other reason for doing it that I don't know about. I have zero inside information on Malibu and their business, but that's what my gut tells me. Maybe not 52, but 51 would be notice. Yeah, it's a beautiful boat, and that's why the looks for me, yeah, 10 years ago, the performance wasn't there yet either, but the looks were, it's a big box on the water, but now you put the arches on it, you get some angle to the bow, you get some cool coloring, and the looks have stepped up in addition to the performance. Have seen a pontoon down here in Destin, Twin 450 Racing, not sure the manufacturer. Yeah, those things will scoot for sure. And what's interesting is almost every manufacturer has a twin option now. So they're still not, it's not a unicorn, but they're also, you'll see them in every big body of water, and you'll see multiple of different manufacturers. I added the Exogear battery soundbar so I don't kill my batteries. Just listen to music. That's a great idea. That is we had a good 30-foot or so tri-tune with 450s run with my old boat, Santee Cooper, 60 on a couple years ago. Looked over, couldn't believe it. Yeah, it's, the first time it happens to you, the first time you're cruising and, you're in your 247 Sportsman and, you got 3/4 throttle, you're doing pretty good running 37. And next thing you know, boom, they go flying by you. It's like, that can't possibly be. Or what's even more fun, sustainability, which this is to be in the pontoon that's cruising by that Cobalt or that Crown Line or whatever. That is fun. Love to find a boat show here in the Northwest. The Seattle Boat Show is huge. I don't know how far away, Bo, you are from Seattle. I know you're up that way. I thought you were in Washington State, but the Seattle Boat Show is a 10-day show, I think. It is huge, huge, huge. And that would be a big one. I think, where else was there one? I want to say there was I've got a whole list of them that I'll send you, because I hired somebody to go out and find a bunch of boat shows. And I'll, Bo, send me your email, or send me an email. Send me an email and I'll send you that list of all the boat shows that I found. It by no means is a comprehensive list. I don't think it's every boat show that's out there. But I was looking to maybe advertise either in the magazine or maybe even put a banner up, or maybe even attend the show as a exhibitor, and see if that made sense for what I'm doing here. But shoot me an email and I'd be glad to send that to you. Kevin, good to see you. Yeah, the Seattle Boat Show, that one is huge. Not a lot of dealers in PNW. I don't know what PNW is, Brent. PNW. Purdue? What city is Pacific Northwest Cascadia? Is that, you have to tell me what PNW is, because I couldn't just quick Google it and find it. COVID put an end to the. Oh, really? I did not realize that. Seattle Boat Show. They had a. I remember. Oh, here we go. Bo, it's on February 3rd, 2023. Um, the Seattle Boat Show indoors and afloat. I remember the Seattle Boat Show when the pandemic hit that they were doing all sorts of stuff, um, doing virtual shows and doing a bunch of different of online type events. But I didn't realize that they shut down last year, um, and 21 and 22. When I see pontoons on the Chesapeake, only quiet water days. Yeah, you do have to when you're at the coast, you do have to be smart about where and when you run it. Um, but there, I mean, 5 years ago, you would very I remember we took a trade-in of a Bennington pontoon that was down in Charleston. This was probably 2014. It was one of my last years there, 2013, 2014, and, they still hadn't figured out what how to saltwater proof not saltwater proof, how to saltwater ready the boat so they would last longer, and, this was a probably a $80,000 pontoon new at that time, which was on the very, very high end. But they've gotten a lot better at getting them prepped and ready for the saltwater, and they're a lot more common. But I get people that ask me, "Hey, how far offshore can I run my Tritune?" And I'm like, "Well, you can take it offshore as far as you want, but you better know what you're doing, and you better have a perfectly calm day, and you better know how to read the weather." Um, I would only go offshore, on a perfect day and maybe go a mile out is it, if that. And you better know that the what the rollers are going to be doing. If you're in a protected bay, a little bit easier, but you still had better pay attention to the weather because you are in a world of hurt if anything picks up and you are not making it back. What's the deal with all these new outboard from Mercury? Um, all right, I've been wanting to do a deep dive into the Mercury V10s, um, V10 Mercury, the 350 and 400 Verados. So they came out, the Verado technology came out in 2010, 2011 maybe. It made digital throttle and shift a standard. So they were digital engines for all intentional purposes. Um, Digital steering, or I'm sorry, digital throttle, digital shifting, which meant everything in the engine was no longer cable controlled, but it was all digital signals. Hey, we're going to send an impulse back to you to do this and to do that. Now what they've done is they said, hey, we had, I think there was a 300, 350 Verado, and was there a 400? There might have been, but they hadn't really revamped them in any serious way since back then. So they took that on. I have not run one. I have not seen one. I have not heard one. Um, but they are from the things that they've changed, keeping them at 87 octane fuel, which Mercury has always done for their posted horsepower. Um, the quietness of the Verado. They were the first outboard to focus on the quietness of the engine. So much so that they engineered the P hole to shoot back towards the boat so it would be quieter. First time you cranked one of those up in 2010, you couldn't believe like everybody they had to adjust the ignition so it wouldn't restart, so the starter wouldn't re-engage when you turn the key because so many people didn't know it was running and they cranked that key again. So the technology has been good, but they've just redone it. I am hoping in this spring to be able to get out and run some of the new outboards that I haven't run if the in-water boat shows have product to do it. And once dealers have some product and they've got boats in the water, they're usually open to letting people run them. And but there just haven't the last 3 years there just haven't been the boats available. So hopefully I'll get to do that and and be able to share a little bit more detail on them. What else did they do? I want to say they did something to the lower unit as well. I don't remember. I've got my I've sort of started going down that path, but with the 600, which you can see here, the 600, it's a V12, and they had so much success with that, and I think they've taken some of that technology to when they revamp these as well, because those have been pretty successful. 92 California, but I remember the Seattle Boat Show was big back then. Yeah, it was real. It was the longest boat show outside of Annapolis, the single boat show, instead of having Power and Sail in the U.S. Went last year, and it was huge. Okay, so they did have it last year. Spring and fall, Baltimore Boat Show in January. Pacific Northwest. All right. See, thank you. Not a lot of dealers in Pacific Northwest. Yeah, see, I should be a smarter person. You guys listen to me about boats, but realize I'm not that bright of a guy. Try tune envy. Hey, Eric, it doesn't matter. Now that you're in this world, I know you haven't bought your first boat yet, but here's a truth. You will forever be boat shopping from this point on. Even after you buy the boat that you're like, this is it, this is perfect for me. That next week, you're going to go out and you're going to be like, oh, that's a new thing. I should check that out. I need to go to the boat show and see what's new. You'll be forever boat shopping. There's always somebody that's going to have a bigger, nicer, faster, shinier boat than you have. There's only one guy with the biggest boat in the world, and he's likely a Saudi prince of some type. So there's always going to be somebody with a bigger boat, a nicer boat. There's always going to be some level of boat envy, but you find the best boat for you, and that's the boat that's going to be perfect for you, and just make sure it fits in your budget. Wait, what? I should cancel this year. Shadow Boat should have not shut down. False information. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I wasn't aware of anything. I didn't hear of anything, but I'm about as far away as you can get. I'm in the Carolinas, so up north the show was shut down. It looks like, I don't know. It looks like it happened last year. It's happening this year. Maybe 2021 they didn't do it, but that was still, there were many shows in 2021 that didn't happen because of the pandemic. And because of lack of inventory. It was kind of a combination of both. See, here we're at an hour and 30 minutes almost again, and not too big a fan. Taking my Sportsman more than about 10 miles offshore. Anything past 4 foot makes me not so fun. Yeah, that's for sure. Does anybody on the coast use the Windy app? That's the app that I use in the Confident Coastal Boater. The Windy app, and the other one is why can I not think of it? Fishweather. The Windy app and Fishweather are the two apps that I use to say, hey, this is how you find the wind direction, the wave direction, the swell direction, the height, kind of the predictions that are coming, what's happening and what's predicted to come while you're out there. But yeah, knowing the frequency and knowing the height is critical for going out there. Bo, you gotta get on the internet. You spend time here. You gotta just do a little Google search, figure this stuff out. I think it's interesting that Mercury went to design its own engines. Yeah, that was a decision when I was still selling boats. They announced that that's the direction they were going to go. And their decision was, hey, we think we are already manufacturing blocks for their outboards. They've always done their outboards themselves, or some of their outboards, I should say. I don't know that they've always done all of them, but so they have that expertise, right? They've been marinizing GM blocks for decades. Then the EPA restrictions came out and they said by 2020, whatever, I don't know what the date was, but by this date in the future, all engines, all automotive engines need to meet these EPA restrictions. Mercury said, "Oh crap, we need to have the power and the torque for the marine industry. We need to have what you're going to take to get the EPA guidelines, to get those miles per hour, to get the efficiency, the emissions, all of that. You're going to take away the best part of that engine. Maybe it's not too bad now, but what we do know is that the government's going to continue to push towards cleaner burning, better fuel economy, all of that. We're going to take the bet that they're going to continue to do that, and they're going to ruin this engine for the marine market. And we're going to take our expertise because we have it, and we're going to invest it now because we don't think Volvo has that expertise. And if they continue running the GM blocks and the EPA continues to push the automotive engines down this path of efficiency, it's gonna ruin the application in the marine space. Okay. They said, we're going to take it, we can design it, and we can build it specifically for the marine space so that it's easy to get to the components that you need to change for maintenance. And we don't have to abide by the same EPA restrictions because we're not governed under that. That's the path they chose. What Volvo said is where Volvo's at right now, they probably have a better package where they've got the, what do they call it? The multi-valve timing there that's strictly coming from GM from the fuel efficiency, those. So they're promoting that. But what's going to happen in 5 years? I think right now they're still, who made the right choice? We don't know yet. Because I think they're both really great engines right now. And the automotive engine hasn't had any downfalls yet. Mercury's blocks seem to be holding up and have the reliability. So we don't know what's going to happen there. But if the EPA continues to tighten up on the automotive engines and they cross over a certain line, I don't know what it is. It'll be an interest. It was a really big strategic decision that they both had to make when the EPA announced that this is where we need to be by this date and time. And I'm not smart enough to know what was the right decision. Some of it's a little bit of a gamble. Some of it was Mercury saying, we've got the expertise and they don't. We're going to take this path because they can't. And we think we can do a better job. And we'll give up some of the technology that you get by working with GM that produces millions and millions and millions of motors every year. And GM also took away what they were using as the 3.0. That 3.0 liter engine's gone. And so that option's out, whereas Mercury could say we can build the sizes that we need as well. It was a very interesting strategic decision, and I don't think there's any clear winner or loser on that front yet. And during that same time, the stern drive market share went bottom. They're still, what was the number I did? 60 or 70 some thousand stern drives were sold in like 2000. Maybe it was even more than that, but like 12,000 2 years ago or last year. So it's taken a huge hit overall. Maybe that market won't be that big of a market anyway, and it won't really matter. But I still think there's a viable option for stern drives on freshwater lakes and in some of the mid-tier express cruisers like your 28. Pontoons on open ocean just seem sketchy. Seen video of them going a haul over, not good. Yeah, Corey, I talked to, in my captain's class, the one of the former owners of Avalon Pontoons was in it, and I got to talk to him a bunch. And he was the VP of sales and marketing before he retired and sold out. He was there for 20 years, I think. But one of the things that Avalon did was They did a trip from uh, to the Bahamas, but it was like a 2-week trip where they went down a portion of the East Coast. I want to say they started in northern Florida, maybe, but every year they've done an adventure trip to show that pontoons can be run in the ocean. I think it was a little bit too much. I think they probably are saying a pontoon can do more than what it really can in the hands of a novice. But they I think that promotional piece, you can search it, Avalon Pontoon Adventures or something like that will probably get it for you. But he told me some crazy stories about their first trip out, and he said it was the main shareholder of the company was the big driver behind all of those trips. He went along for the first one, but he said I didn't do any others after that, even though they did several while he was there. I just it was a really interesting conversation to get some of the inside look at a promotional piece that I saw when it first came out. When it first happened, I was like, "They're doing what with the pontoon? That's crazy." And then hearing some of the stories, a writer for, I want to say it was maybe Pontoon and Deck Boat Magazine or somebody that they got on the boat, and maybe it was a boating magazine, but whoever it was like a legit boater, and this was a sales and marketing guy at a manufacturer and the head of the boat company, which didn't have much, if any, ocean going saltwater experience. And then I don't remember who else was all with them, but they had a couple of folks with them. And he said the boating magazine guy or the boating writer had slickers on, and he was ready for what they experienced, which was you know getting splashed with waves and water all over the place, like you would expect if you're running offshore. And these guys were just in their regular streetwear, thinking, "Oh, this is going to be fun. We're going to go into port every night. What's the big deal?" And he said that boating rider got off on one of the first or second stops. He's like, "All right, I got what I needed for my story, but I'm not continuing on." Uh, Interesting. It opened up a marketplace for him, for sure. May have been promoting something that it wasn't super safe with for novice boaters, I think is the way to say it. Didn't Volvo drop GM blocks a few years back? No, they're still using Volvo Penta GM relationship. Oh, Mercury was '08 or '08, 2017, I think. Um, let's see if this, yeah, the variable valve timing, that's directly coming from, why isn't that sizing up right? Um, Volvo Penta based on the General Motor block 2017. Oh, that's not what I want to do. That's their diesel boats. All right, we'll find it. Really appreciate, Captain. You really helped me a lot. Thank you. You're very welcome, John. Glad glad that the information has been helpful for you. Always love that. No, that was Mercury. Yeah, it started dividing voltage with Geo blocks. Direct response, variable valve timing, close. Yeah, the close cooling. I think that's one of the smartest things that Volvo did is go to a standard closed cooling system. I think that was really wise on their part. Bought a 19 Monterey 258 SS. Wondering if I should start looking for a new one or hang on for another season. So I don't know. I don't know. Here is, I'd say this is my prediction, not even a projection. This is my guess. I'll say that. I think that there's going to continue to be reasonable demand. What I mean by that is demand's going down, but we haven't hit that point where there's too much supply in the marketplace. We're probably getting to the point where there's about enough supply in the marketplace where there's, and dealers are either going to have in their mind, we've got too much inventory or we don't have enough inventory. They're never going to say we're at the perfect level of inventory. It's not the mentality of a dealership owner usually. What I think is going to happen is that different pockets in the US specifically, probably North America, I'll broaden it a little bit, that are going to be hit by the slowdown in the economy more than others. There's going to be certain pockets of the boating marketplace that's going to be hit more than others. My gut tells me, based on some of the numbers, some of just gut feel, that pontoons, bigger center consoles, jet boats are going to continue to have really good demand. No, that's not the right way to say it. The supply demand connection is going to be in the favor of the dealers, of the sellers, we'll say, in those markets, because there's very little supply of those. They're trying to build up the inventory, and they're not to that level where the dealers would say we got too much. I think most dealers in those markets, higher horsepower tri-tunes specifically, higher horsepower center consoles specifically, and jet boats, Yamahas, but even Scarab. I think those markets are going to continue to be stronger, and the prices are going to hold a little bit. I think there's also some of the not entry level bow riders, not big bow riders, but where your Monterey is, that good size bow rider section where, let's say, 24, maybe even 26 to 20, maybe even 22. We'll say 22 to 26, 28. That middle section, I think, is still going to do okay. I think the really big stuff is there's so few of those buyers, that it's all going to depend on what the stock market does. Those people are mainly paying cash. It may even include your boat. They're a big $150,000, $200,000 purchase, and they're making their decisions based on their investment portfolio, not based on their incomes, right? We might write a check, we might finance it, but we've got cash to pay this baby off if we ever need to. I think that's going to be all dependent on what the market does. That middle segment, you might start to see it come down. The smaller section, I think, is going to go first. Those are the people that are typically buying based on, hey, I can fit that into my monthly budget. The 20 foot and under, I can fit that into my monthly budget. Now the economy starts slowing down, and there's a chance that, hey, maybe they're going to slow down my hours. Maybe I'm going to make less. I won't have the overtime, or my job's in jeopardy. Whatever it might be, I think that segment's going to get hit sooner and more. But I think that mid-tier segment's still going to go okay, but the depreciation is going to return to a normal depreciation level. So if you're going to sell it, I don't know where you are, John, what part of the country you are. I would say it's not typically the best time to sell it, but I would look and say, all right, how many Monterey's are for sale? Monterey's for sale in, I'm going to say, whatever your area is. And what you're going to look at is Monterey, 258, sale in Charlotte. All right. So what you're going to look at is how many of those boats, and not just Monterey, but you're going to throw Crown Lines into the mix. You're going to throw everything that's in that mid-tier kind of category. And you're going to say, how many of those are on the market right now? And what's you've got this one that's a saltwater boat for 65. This one, 85. That's saltwater as well, I believe. Irwin up there. 78,000 in Grand Island, New York. I don't know if that's salt or freshwater. And you're going to just sort of check and say, all right. And then we've got the 2023 is 180. That's retail. That's coming from Midwest Sports. We don't know what the options are, but you're just going to do a quick run through of what's for sale and what are the pricing. And then just watch the market for a minute. Maybe even throw your boat out there. But if there's going to be discounts, it's going to be because in May and June of next year, inventory is way higher than what dealers are comfortable for in your area and that style of boat. And that's when the big discounts are going to come. Right now, the rebates that we just talked about, the Malibu rebates, I think those rebates are coming as a hedge, I'm willing to give up a little bit of money right now. We've already raised the prices due to inflation. We're going to show a rebate to get some action, to generate some leads, to try to make hay while people, if the economy is really going to go down, we want it to happen now. We want to try to sell these boats now before it really gets done. We're going to generate some leads. We'll sell these people down the line, and we're going to secure reorders for 2024. Those are the thoughts that are going through dealers and manufacturers' minds right now is, where's my inventory going to be? What do I think our economy is going to do? We're going to project the sales. We're going to project what's going to happen. If we feel like we're too much inventory, we're going to discount. Manufacturers look at the whole inventory level. If they say it's too heavy or it's getting a little more than what we're comfortable with, and we're not sure we're going to get those reorders for next year, we're going to put a rebate out there as a lead generation tool. And if we sell the boats because of it, boom, we get a reorder. So for you, I would look in your area, look at the Monterey's overall nationwide, especially in that size range, because they will set their rebates based on this analysis of the marketplace overall. Okay. That's what happens in the way they set their prices. So you can do the same thing as a consumer to decide, should I sell it now or should I keep it? I don't think there's going to be huge discounts in that segment. But you will get more for your boat. I would think, again, depending on where you are, I think you would get more for your boat if there is a major recession that's going to continue on. I don't know if there is or not. Yes. I listen, I know where I stand. My girls are, my wife has her doctorate. She has her PhD, way smarter than me, way out of my league. My girls take after her for the most part, except for when they get in trouble. I'm a solid C student. I am, I do enjoy business. That's one thing that I enjoy, but book smarts is not my thing. So, but I do have the ability to. I'm good at remembering things. I feel like the West Virginia Prince, my Saudi Prince, West Virginia Prince. They're close. They're usually close. Sail Flow. I'll have to check that one out. Let me write that down. Thank you for sharing that, Bo. Sail Flow. I might add that to it. Add that to the program. Love Windy. Be careful. Two apps that are both named Windy. Both are good. Let me see. This is the Windy that I've got. I don't know if you can see that. That's the Windy that I have. I don't know if that's the. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see what that is, but anyway, that's the one I have. That's a good. I appreciate that because I need to. I think I have a link directly to it, but I need to make sure that I show that logo. So, what are my 3 tools? Awesome. Okay, all right, we're coming up on almost 2 hours here. Holy smokes! I was nervous. Yes, it's true. Never forget. Said a previous video that once you get your boat, you always want to go bigger. It's it just there's something about it. Once you become a boater, things change. Things change. I'm looking at. As a matter of fact, I'm meeting with them next week. But doing some videos, like I said, 5 truths when you become a boater. These are the things that are going to happen. I'm going to dip my toe in on a probably a separate channel, but doing some funny videos like that, and actually hire somebody that knows how to shoot video. I met a kid that is a filmmaker, and what I found is that they will work very inexpensively for the exposure and for the opportunity to build up their portfolio, but are really, really good. They just like doing that kind of stuff, so they're not really doing it for the money. That was going to help me out with it. We'll see how they turn out. I don't know if I've got a funny enough personality to pull it off, but we'll try. All right, Mercury Marine had a long history of making engines, GM 4-valve performance. Oh, that's right. They did the Corvette. I remember that. Now that you say that, thank you for bringing that up. John, I think Monterey is a solid mid tier. Yeah, I think they're right there in that mid tier with in that market with the Crown line, with Monterey, with the Sea Ray SPX a model. Yeah, they're right there in the mid tier for sure. And I haven't dug into too many of the larger Monterey's. Most of the ones that I've inspected have been 24 and under. So and this will happen with some manufacturers is when they start getting into the bigger boats, they step up their finish work. Usually the structure and the hull and the layup schedule of the fiberglass is all similar. But when they get to the finishing, that fit and finish that people talk about, they'll step their game up on some of their higher end stuff because they have to. Listen, when you start buying $150,000 and $200,000 boats, there's nobody that's value shopping in that level. So they've got to step it up in some cases. Marine weather is supplement to windy. Weather. Thank you guys for sharing all that. 100-minute live. Yeah, we're at one. I've got it blinking right up here. I've got the time that we've been live, 1 hour, 52 minutes and 7 seconds, and the number of people that are watching. We've got 24 on, and then the number of likes. So Landy and Eric McCroy, thank you for the thumbs up. I can see who you are, just so you know. All right, I'm in the Lake Winnipesaukee area. Okay, so yeah, up the northeast area is one that I've seen from just anecdotal evidence, John. This is no data that I've researched or anything, but just the people I've talked to. That area seems to be slowing down on the faster scale. Maybe it's because it's the weather. Maybe it's because you guys got colder faster. You know, the Pacific Northwest, PNW, that I just learned tonight, Pacific Northwest, they don't get as cold as fast. The upper Midwest is another area that has slowed. And it very well could be, hey, things are slowing down in the economy and the weather's getting cold, kind of a double whammy. Things are slowing down in the economy, but it's still 75 degrees in Texas. Yeah, maybe boating still wins out over the risk reward thing. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but as we get started, it could, because it's questionable. What's the real impact going to be to the boating market? And clearly, if you look at the household wealth in the U.S., it's still way up. People that are buying boats are mainly not living paycheck to paycheck. Hey, there are some folks that's how they can get in, and it fits in their budget and they make it work. But for the most part, they're people with other wealth in their portfolio, and they don't get impacted. It's more of a emotional reaction for them versus I'm going to lose everything type reaction. So. All right. Another Sunday, another good live, great conversations. Forward as usual. Thanks to the crew. See you on the next one. Yeah, we're gonna cut this baby off here shortly. So I'm gonna get through these last couple. Thank you guys for the engagement and the comments and just the banter back and forth. Make it so much easier for me to stay on. What I don't do very good is just off the cuff come up with the topic to to go. I noticed Yamaha of Louisville is having a good inventory lately. They already had 23 jet boats on the showroom floor. Yeah, the 23s. I don't know about Yamaha this year, but when I was selling the Yamaha jet boats, Jay Formoda, they started rolling in late August. So I would expect them to have some. What I look for is how many 2022s do they have on their website, or actually, because they don't always keep their website up, how many 2022s do they have on the showroom floor? That's a number that, if that number is big, they're more likely to deal. If that number is big, maybe right now, maybe they got them in late in the season. They didn't get them until August, I talked to a dealer that got 3 of his 6 2022s delivered in August, like a week before Labor Day. And he's like, he was in Nebraska. He was in the Midwest. He's like, I'm not going to sell this. Maybe I will, but after Labor Day, the market slows down there considerably. So that kind of is a little bit different this year than it normally is. But I like to look at how many previous year models do they have on the books, um, especially come boat show time in the spring. If they got a bunch, they're more likely to deal. If they don't have many, hey, they're sitting where they want to. Most dealers will say, hey, we want maybe a handful of them, maybe 10% of their total inventory being that leftover year model. That means we ordered about right. We can discount these and sell them. That's fine. But we really did a good job. If that number is 30%, probably 40% bad. And if that number was 0 on Labor Day and they ran out of boats, that's bad too. They lost money that way too. So there's really a balance where they try to hit, and a few left over, good. Too many left over, bad. Tired, this will go to get to bed. Good night, Brian. Thanks for joining us. Ray, good night. Thanks for joining us. Bob, I have not been on Lake Norris. The Cobalt that my in-laws have is on Lake Loudon. So we go Loudon, Tellico. We haven't even locked through. We haven't locked through yet. I don't even know if the locks get to Norris, but I've got a few folks that follow the channel, subscribers that are on Norris, and I've seen how beautiful the water is there. But I personally have not been on it yet. I say yet because it's on the list. Had to ask for a discount when you buy a 6-figure boat, but I still do. Hey, if you don't, you're overpaying. That you can overpay for a 6-figure boat. I promise you, they'll discount those because there's a lot more. There's a lot more for them to give up on those as well. So, John, you're very welcome. Glad we could help. Took the old Ranger out this morning. Chris, 56 degrees. I wanted to test out the new live scope. Through hole I just put in. So, Brock, did you drill the hole through, or did you use the previous transducer hole? I always get nervous when you start thinking about putting a hole through the bottom of your boat. Live forward down facing is wherever it's at now. Is where it's at now. Yeah, that some of the scans and the videos I've seen of that, and I'm not a fisherman, but you're like, holy crap, that is amazing. 22 all gone. Okay. Yep. It's common for a lot of dealers. A good lesson for all boat buyers. You're not going to win, but you can be happy as hell. Yes, that's for sure. Yeah, and again, I'm realizing this more and more that it is market by market. I think all these pontoon companies need to really increase the standard technology on their boats. Autonomous cruising, auto anchors. What did I see? I saw, who was that? Somebody was testing autonomous docking at their dealer meeting, and it was, oh crap. I don't remember. There, if you Google autonomous docking, there's somebody that just tested an autonomous docking technology, and it had to be Brunswick, but I don't remember what brand of boat it was on. Probably I want to say Sea Ray, but I don't think it was. I would have to think it would be one of their brands. But anyway, through their technology group, their innovation division, they were testing this, and it was pretty interesting. They said it could notice obstructions. They threw something in the water, and it kind of maneuver around it. I think there's a lot of variables to account for when you're talking about that. But with the digital technology, with the joystick, now you can do that via sensors, and it's interesting. It's interesting to see how that goes. I had a drill one. The Ranger didn't come stock with the through hull. Um, Actually, two, because the way it bolts up. We'll seal those babies up good. I know you will. You are diligent and detailed. But um, well, that is awesome. Thank you guys for an awesome 2-hour live. This has been a lot of fun. Congratulations to James Altland. You are the big winner. I'll shoot you an email. Get in touch, and we'll get that to you. And thank you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the interaction, be a part of the community, and we'll see you next weekend. Remember, life truly is better on a boat. Have a good night, everybody, and a great week.